The COVID-19 pandemic has affected all small businesses in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but there is help to move your business forward. The Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is available to assist entrepreneurs and small businesses. The VISBDC is the territory's #1 resource for small businesses and is sustained by the University of the Virgin Islands and the U.S. Small Business Administration. The VISBDC is nationally accredited and provides one-on-one advising, business education training, and technical assistance at no cost. Attend workshops by experts from both the public and private sectors. From idea generation to exit strategies, the staff at the VISBDC are ready to assist you. So don't wait. Call, email, or visit them on the web at www.visbdc.org and Facebook, or simply download their mobile app on the Apple or Google Play Store. Just search VISBDC. Discover how they can help your business grow and succeed.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the VISPDC's hosting of the USVI Financial Preparedness webinar series. The goal of this series is to financially prepare small business owners to more than just stay afloat and maximize profits through effective financial planning. Today is the final session within the series entitled Retirement Savings. Let me take a brief moment to recognize our presenter for today, Ms. Maxine Fredericks. Maxine Fredericks is an exceptional individual with a wealth of experience and expertise, making her one of the most valuable assets in the realm of emergency management and disaster recovery. With a distinguished career as a retired Federal Emergency Management Agency employee, she has left an indelible mark on the field. At FEMA, Maxine spearheaded critical projects such as the Hurricane Marilyn Virgin Island Roofing Program, a resounding success achieved through seamless collaboration with the entire USVI team. Her proficiency as a subject matter expert in grants management programs is unparalleled, having administered, instructed, managed, and mentored these programs across various states. Notably, she demonstrated remarkable negotiation skills, effectively navigating through multiple agencies to facilitate FEMA's administration of the Real ID program. In retirement, Maxine continues to contribute significantly to the community, serving as a program manager for the United States Army Corps of Engineers and Nutuent program. Her passion for teaching and sharing knowledge led her to become an esteemed instructor at the Emergency Management Institute. There, she imparts her insights on disaster recovery planning to federal, state, and local jurisdictions, public and private organizations, and business owners. Beyond her remarkable achievements in the field of emergency management, Maxine is a multifaceted individual with diverse talents and interests. She is an accomplished author, captivating public speaker, and even a professional bodybuilder and trainer coach. Her dedication to personal growth and physical well-being serves as an inspiring example to all. A 48-year resident of the Virgin Islands, Maxine is both a licensed insurance agent and formal licensed financial advisor. Leveraging her expertise, she generously offers complimentary, no-obligation financial preparedness courses for individuals, families, businesses, and organizations of various kinds, including HUD first-time home buyers. Her partnership with the Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center is a testament to her commitment to uplifting the community that has been an integral part of her life. Maxine sees her work with the VISBDC as a privilege, an opportunity to give back to the people who have supported her throughout her journey to success. As a former client of the VISBDC, she was awarded Innovator of the Year for Creative Business Ventures. Her passion for community service and her profound impact on disaster management and financial preparedness make her an invaluable asset to the VISBDC community. This August, Maxine imparted her knowledge through training, and there's no doubt that it would have a lasting positive influence on all who participate. So here's a friendly reminder to put your questions in the chat, and they will be addressed by Ms. Fredericks either directly in the chat or later during the question and answer segment. A copy of this presentation is available upon email request to info@visbdc.org. We encourage you to take a few minutes after this training to fill out the survey that lets us know how we are doing. So without further ado, Ms. Fredericks, the floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Hello? Okay, great. Retirement has evolved over the years to now span decades. The average lifespan in retirement has significantly increased over the past century. And it's changing how we should view retirement. In the 1950s, if you retired at the age of 65, you were expected to live probably another 7 years. So at around 72, you probably would have passed away. Fast forward to today, somebody retiring at the age of 65, they might live well into their 90s. So now it results in 25 to 30 more years in retirement. And this is because of medical advances and the continued progress in healthcare. Many people are just living longer, they're living healthier lives than they did in past generations. And because this is great news, it also brings about some financial implications. And some of those implications include number one, inflation. And I'll be talking about inflation throughout this conversation today. Even modest inflation can simply erode and significantly erode your purchasing power over 2 or 3 decades down the road. So a loaf of bread or a gallon of gas is going to cost more 20 years from now. And your retirement savings must reflect that inflation. Rising medical costs is another thing that you have to be concerned about when you retire. Because with age, some of us sometime will have increased medical expenses. Because as we live longer, the cumulative cost of healthcare, it can really be daunting, especially if you're facing or someone that you are taking care of or living with is facing a chronic illness, or they require, or you might require long-term care. Then there's the possibility of you outliving your assets. A prolonged retirement increases the risk of you outliving your money. So, what may have once been for you a comfortable nest egg, it can now become insufficient if it's not managed with longevity in mind. So, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask questions, not a couple, I'm going to ask you questions throughout this conversation. And I just want you to take a moment and put your answers in the chat, and we'll be able to talk about some of these things when we do the question and answer period. If you have a pressing question that you want to ask while we're actually doing this conversation. So question number one, if money wasn't an issue, remember, I want you to put your answers in the chat. Where's the first place that you would travel to during retirement? And why would you go there? So number two, the second question, what is the one thing on your retirement bucket list that you really just can't wait to check off? What is that one thing that you've been really wanting to do? It's like, when I go to retirement, this is what I'm going to do. And lastly, I would like for you to describe your ideal retirement day in 3 words. What would your ideal retirement day look like in 3 words? So I hope you've all got your answers in. I'm going to move on now. So I want to thank you, Virgin Islands Small Business Development Center, for allowing me this platform. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. Welcome to Investing in Retirement. I want to let you know that before I got into this phase of my life, I had absolutely zero background in business. I didn't even know what a balance sheet was all about. I didn't know what a spreadsheet or a financial statement was all about. I wasn't a business major when I attended my university. Although my university had a business major, they even had a master's degree in business. But I just never thought about making that a career, even though I always knew that I wanted to be in business. In fact, I didn't get my insurance and securities license until I was in my 70s. And I just got my securities 26 license this year. This license will allow me to manage a securities office. But I always had this dream because I come from very meager means, single family, single parent home. My mom worked in a laundry. She earned 10 cents for ironing napkins that go on restaurant tables. And I always had this dream. I wanted to know what it would be like to be financially independent. So I had this dream that I was going to open this financial services office, St. Thomas waterfront in the Shinnery building above Ashford store, because I wanted to be able to look out at the ocean and have my clients to look out at the ocean each and every day. And I put this and a picture of this on my vision board 3 years before I actually got any of the licenses. You know, it's always been this little thing that's on the inside of me that said, you can make your own money. You can do this on your own. And even though my piggy bank didn't say that, because as a kid in my early 20s, my piggy bank probably had more crazy glue on it than it had money inside of it, because I was always going back in there taking money out. Financial independence has always been on my mind. As a matter of fact, going back to my vision board, I had written on my vision, I wrote myself a $150 million check and put it on my vision board when I first started doing vision boards. After the first half of my life in my early 20s and my early 30s, my life was really, really rocky. I went through some really, really hard times. I ended up running away to St. Thomas. I bought a one-way ticket with no intentions of going back. I had like $500 in my pocket and I had two children. So I got here, life was going really, really well for me. And after the devastation of Hurricane Marilyn, things were, even though they were a little shaky, they were doing okay. I got a federal job. It had benefits. It had matching savings. That's free money. And I was really doing very well. But I always knew that after retirement, I wanted to go back into business because I had businesses and they were doing really well. And I went back into business. I financed it out of my own pocket. I did not have a financial plan in place. And I failed. I failed because I had not prepared for the unexpected business expenses that hit me, and everything just sort of spiraled out of control. I ended up having to use business credit cards to stay afloat. And then on top of that, the IRS gave me a very special spotlight moment. They say, you owe us over $100,000 and more. And I was devastated. Then on top of that, I ended up having an injury to my leg. And the discomfort from that, the depression, I just wanted to give up. I actually was going to credit counselors. Didn't make sense to me. Why am I paying somebody and I'm already in debt? I also had talked to a financial advisor. I didn't understand anything that this guy was saying. And just when I thought that I was going to be featured in the Bankruptcy Hall of Fame, a miracle happened to me. And it's a miracle. I was at a networking event, and sitting right next to me was a financial advisor. And he introduced himself and said he offered free, complimentary financial education to anybody who was interested. Now, I, like had already gone through this before. but I was interested because I had no other way out. So remember me telling you about the vision board, the things I put on the vision board, they came to fruition. 10 days actually before I met this financial advisor at that meeting, I had written in my prayer journal, because in prayer it says, you must ask for what you want, but you need to be specific. And so I had written in my prayer journal that I wanted to know everything about money, from the simplest complex from the simplest concept to the most complex financial strategy. And I was doing affirmations. I was doing everything that I could possibly do to try to bring myself back to normal, some kind of normalcy. So my affirmation was, I call myself the unbelievable pocketbook princess of money. So I still call myself unbelievable. But anyway, fast forward, this financial advisor, he and I teamed up. We came up with a financial plan that even a 5-year-old could understand. That's how simple it was. And I started on my comeback. It was not one of those overnight Hollywood lifetime movie success stories. It has been and it is a marathon. There are highs, there were highs, there are lows, there's still lows. So if somebody like me who had spent almost every cent they had, can pull themselves out of financial quicksand, believe me, anybody can. All you need is determination. All you need is to be willing to spend time around positive, wise people, people that care, people who are willing to guide you, people who have others' best interest at heart, people who are not looking for anything because they already have what you're looking for. It just takes determination. You got to show up. You got to put in the work. You got to work the plan, and you have to really, really want it. And anybody can live the lifestyle that they want as long as you want it. My name is Maxine Fredericks. My daughter Melissa and I are business partners, and we now offer complimentary, no obligation financial education to anybody is interested, anyone who's interested. So for more information, you can text us at 770-733-9654 or 770-688-7812. So today, I've already talked to you about what retirement looks like today. We're going to talk about rethinking your financial planning. We're going to talk about the different phases of investment, what you should be doing in each phase. We're going to talk about the uncertainties of retirement. And most importantly, we're going to talk about compound interest and the rule of 72 and how important they are in your retirement savings. We've been talking about this throughout this series. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some different types of investment strategies. I'm going to focus on mutual funds. And the reason I focus on mutual funds because they're really easy to understand. And if you're just getting into saving, it's really one of the real ways to get to understand and get to know what you're doing. So those are the things that we're going to talk about today. And we're ready to go. But before we get started, I do have some questions that I want you to put your answers in the chat about. When you're rethinking about your retirement planning, on the slide here, you see this three-legged stool. However, the three-legged stool used to be like, this is what we can look forward to in retirement. That's not the case anymore because a lot of people would work 30, 40, 50 years in the past and they had a pension that was waiting for them. Pensions are something of the past. They no longer happen. Social Security is unpredictable. The only thing that you can control right now, today, is your savings and your investing in yourself. So what do? The first thing you want to do is you want to start early. You want to start very early saving and investing. The power of compound interest is on your side when you start early. However, don't think that it's too late to start. You know, the best time to start saving was yesterday, and the next best time to start is today. Even if you are saving just very small amounts of money, as long as you're doing it consistently, and as long as you're placing that money where your money can grow substantially over time, you have a plan, a long-term game plan. So you want to be thinking about not planning for 10 to 15 years out. You want to be thinking about the possibility of you living a very long life, and you're planning 25 to 30 years out. It could mean that you might have to do some adjusting. You might have to adjust how you allocate your funds. You might think about seeking higher returns. You might have to be a little bit more risky if you started out a little late, and you might even consider working just a little bit longer. I know most of us like, I want to retire, but maybe if you worked a little bit longer, it could delay your retiring for a couple of years, but it can result in you probably having a larger Social Security payment, and it could mean that you can have some additional savings. So you want to be able to do the things that's going to decrease the likelihood of you having financial strains in the later stages of your retirement. Staying informed and being flexible, that is critical, because anything can change at the drop of a hat. The economy is not certain. Health trends, not certain. These are things you cannot control. Your personal circumstances can change at any time. So it's essential to regularly review and adjust your retirement strategy. The gift of longer life acts a treasure, but it requires careful planning so that you can fully enjoy it. You want to be able to recognize and the potential for having an extended retirement and being able to adjust your financial strategies so that in your golden years, you can live with confidence and security. So when I talked about a minute ago, things can change automatically. About 2.5 years ago, I got this telephone call. Someone said, you need to come down to the beach right away. And it's Megan's. And I don't live far from Megan's. Your son is unresponsive. This is my son who had spent 27 years in the military, retired in June, and this happened to him in July. He was doing a backflip on the beach, landed on his neck, and it paralyzed him. I spent 2.5 years as his caregiver. Had I not been in a position to have a great financial education and a financial plan in place, I would not have been able to really financially afford being with him for those 2.5 years. So it's really, really critical that you plan. It's really, really critically that you think about all the things that we're talking about in this conversation so that you can plan adequately so that you can enjoy your years in retirement. So there are different phases of investment. The first phase is accumulation, and that's between the ages of 18 and 55. That means you got maybe like 40 years or more to just accumulate money. So what I want you to imagine is that during this phase, you're building a very large system, and you're going to store water in the system. And everywhere you can find water, you're going to be putting in this system, whether it's rain, whether it's you buying water if there happens to be on sale, or just wherever you can get water, you want to direct it into this system. You're going to fill this cistern. So similarly, from ages 18 to 55, you're working, you're earning, you're channeling as much as you can into your financial system. This is your time to save. This is your time that you're going to save, invest, and invest the most money that you can. The second phase is the protection phase. That's age 55 to 65. Now, that's just a 10-year life span. So now what you're going to start doing is you know how to fill up that cistern, you know how to make sure that you're getting water from every place that you can. You're going to start guarding your system. So what you're doing now, you're fortifying the walls, you're making sure there's no leaks, you're preserving your water quality. In the financial world, this period signifies a shift from merely saving to protecting all of the money that you've amassed. You might reallocate your money to safer investments, or you might purchase some insurance so that you can shield against any sudden market downturns. And then the last phase is the distribution phase. And that's from age 65 and on up. So now you're ready to start utilizing the system. Now you got a full secure cistern, and you want to start using the water for your daily tasks, whatever your daily tasks are. So post year 65, you're going to start using your accumulated wealth to fund your lifestyle. Because as you decrease or you cease working, your savings are going to become the main financial source. It's like the stored water. This water is going to fund your essentials, your food, your shelter, your health care, and your leisure. So it's vital that your savings, your cistern, can sustain throughout your retirement years. The journey of investment parallels the life of a cistern. Each phase, from building to using, it's an integral to ensure that you're financially equipped, especially during your non-working years. So you want to invest wisely, you want to protect robustly, and you want to spend judiciously. So I didn't give you the chat questions, but I'm going to give them to you now. Number one, in the chat, please share your responses in the chat. What is a hobby or some kind of a passion that you're looking forward to spending more time doing once you retire? What is that thing that you want to really do? Secondly, what is a personal achievement or what is some skill that you would love to attain during your retirement years? What is something you would want to do in your retirement years? For me, I wanted to go back into business. I wanted to be successful in business. And thirdly, is there something new that you always wanted to learn, but you just have never had the time to do it? And now you hope to pursue this in retirement. I hope you've put your answers in the chat. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about retirement as a lengthy, I want to say road trip, but not a road trip because road trip here is not lengthy. So think about it as a cruise or a long cruise, or thinking about it as you taking a trip on a plane that's long hours somewhere totally away from this area. So a couple of questions for you in the chat. So if you're going on that long trip, who would be your travel buddies? Who would you want to travel with? Second question, when you're thinking about finances, you're thinking about retirement, who is that person do you go to look for advice? Who's that person that you trust to have this conversation with about your finances and about your retirement? And lastly, what are the top three things that you think about most for your future plans? What is in your mind? What are you thinking about? Hey, I know at some point I'm gonna retire. And most of us start thinking about retirement even before we start having a career. Like, what am I going to do after this? So, like I said, I want you to think about retirement as a long trip. So your savings, that's the gas that you're going to need. That means investing continuously is going to ensure that your money tank is always full so that you'll be able to navigate your journey and you won't have a lot of hitches and unforeseen costs like I had. Because your money never retires. You may no longer want to work, but your money never retires. You always need money. And just because you retire, it doesn't mean that your money should, and it shouldn't. So you have to continue investing so that you can ensure growth, even as you are using the funds that you have saved and invested. You need to provide security for your future years because there's a danger that you could deplete all of your funds very quickly. So you think about this. You got this big tart. I don't know what your best flavor is. Mine is coconut, guava, pineapple. But if you start eating large slices of that tart very early and you leave just a little bit for later, you can lose potential growth from the part that you already ate. Here's some retirement risks that you want to recognize. One is longevity risk. And I kind of talked about that. That's outliving your funds. You spend them too quickly and you outlive them. Then there's market risk. We have no control over the market. We don't know what investments would do. They fluctuate. They have always fluctuated up and down. So you need to be thinking about how do I diversify my portfolio, your investments and your savings as you did while you were working so that you can cushion against any kind of market downturns. And you also need to be thinking about inflation risk because rising prices, they're going to happen over time. They're going to erode your money's purchasing power. So remember, if you need $10,000 today to live off of, in 20 years, that might be double. And in 30 years, it'll probably be 2.5 times more due to inflation. You want to plan for the what ifs. What have expected health costs? What if you have changes in living costs? What if you end up having to support your family like I did? And it wasn't supporting them, it was supporting myself during that time. What if the government changes its benefit plans if you have a government job? Retirement is not the end of financial planning, it's just a new phase. And you want to prepare for potential risk and you want to continue to invest to make sure that you have a more comfortable financial journey ahead. So regular investments over time, paired with discipline, it's going to foster a wealthy growth for you. Compound interest. So here's some questions I really want you to answer in the chat. If you could double your money without doing any extra work, would you do that? And if you could do this legally. Number two, do you know how to double your money without doing any extra work? Legally. And number three, would you like to know how to double your money without doing any extra work? These are all things that you can do legally. And I want you to remember this rule. It's very, very important. I'm going to repeat it twice. When you loan money, your money sows, like reaping what you sow. When you borrow money, your money owes. So when you borrow money, you're buying money and you owe for that money. So again, when you loan money, your money sows. When you borrow money, your money owes. So just imagine you plant a tree, and over time, that tree starts to bear fruit. The fruit that this tree gives you is like interest. Interest is the reward that you get for planting the tree. So you planted the tree, you watered it, you took care of it, you fertilize it. Now you get the fruit. But now instead of eating or selling all the fruit from your tree, you decide you're going to plant some of that fruit. Now, the next time the tree bears fruit, not only does your original tree give you fruit, but the new tree has fruit that you've planted, and it also starts bearing its own fruit. So you're getting fruit from the fruits. In the world of money, when you save or invest, the investment place, the place where you invested, it gives you a little extra as a thank you. And that's what is called interest. Now, we're going to compound that interest. That means we're just going to double it. We're going to put more interest on top. And compound interest is when the investments that you made gives you a thank you. It gives you that little extra thank you money. And so not only does it give you money on that, it gives you money on top of what you've actually invested. And so now your money grows on itself. And that's how compound interest works. The second part of that is the rule of 72. So how does the rule of 72 work? We've been talking about the rule of 72 and compound interest all throughout this series. In the chat, tell me, do you remember how this rule of 72 works? If you remember, put the formula in the chat. Now that you know how your money grows, how long does it take for the money to grow? That's important. So the rule of 72 is doubling your tree orchard. How do you estimate when your trees or your money is going to double in number? If each tree that you planted is producing fruit, the fruit is your interest, and it's producing fruit at, say, 4% every year. Remember, the higher the interest rate, the more money you get in compound interest, and the shorter it takes time frame it takes for your money to grow. So by using the rule of 72, if you don't remember, you would take the number 72, divide it by 4, and in this instance, it would give you 18. And this means about 18 years. It will take 18 years at 4% interest to have the double amount of trees or the money that you started with. And I'm going to share with you later on how this concept can allow you to use the interest from your initial savings to live on and never have to touch your initial investment. That is an awesome, awesome concept. So now I want to talk about some investment strategies. And investment strategies are different ways that you can choose to save and invest your money. Everybody's different. You have to find out what's good for you. How do you do this? What makes sense to you? You have to understand, and you have to fully understand what you're doing. Because if you don't understand and somebody else is taking control of that, you've lost control of your hard-earned money. This is a game that the rules to this game is to know how your money works for you and how you work your money. So one type of investment could be asset allocation. So this is how asset allocations work. So imagine your investments are like a fruit salad, but instead of having just apples in your salad, you're going to mix in some oranges, some bananas, some strawberries. Each one of those fruit is going to represent a different type of investment, like stocks, bonds, or cash. The reason that you're mixing these different fruits, your investments, is so that you can enjoy various flavors. Those are your benefits. And it will reduce the risk of relying too much on just that one fruit. So if that one fruit goes bad, that's an investment, it underperforms. The entire salad doesn't go bad. So you haven't eroded or you haven't ruined all of your savings. You still have some tasty fruits that you can enjoy. That's one type of an investment, ladder bonds. And when I say ladder, I mean like climbing a ladder. So a bond is like lending money to a friend. You lend money to a friend, and in return, they promise to pay you back at a certain time. And then they're going to give you a little extra as a thank you for letting them borrow money for you. So with a bond, you are actually doing the lending. You're lending to companies or you're lending to governments. They're like your friends. They're borrowing from you. So let's say you buy a bond and the requirement is that that bond is going to mature in 1 year. That means that after 1 year, you were going to get your payment back. You're going to get your money back. When a bond matures, it's the end of the loan period. You get your original money back. So you buy a bond that matures in 2 years, and then you buy another bond that matures in 3 years. So this being a strategy that you might like. This means when you reach the first step on your ladder, year one, that bond is going to be done. You get your money back. When you reach the second step, year two, on that 2 year bond, that bond's going to be done. And again, you get your money back. This pattern just continues for every step on your ladder. It's like having a predictable cash flow continually going. As you climb the ladder, you got money coming in year one, year two, and so on. If interest rates rise, you might want to buy some more bonds that will pay more. But if the interest rates fall, remember, you still have those bonds that are paying you as expected. So ladder bonds, that's another investment strategy you might want to consider. Then there are annuities. So what are annuities? Historically, annuities, these were annual payments made by Roman citizens. They paid these payments to the city in return for them getting certain privileges. Annuities can be fixed or they can be variable, and they can provide you with a steady income stream. They can be a way to ensure that you won't outlive your savings. A fixed annuity is where you put a certain amount of money in an account, and in return, you're promised a set amount of money every year or every month or whatever time frame you designate. This is like having a paycheck for a certain period or even for the rest of your life. Or you might want to purchase a variable annuity. And this is where you put money into an account. And in return, it invests your money in things like stocks and bonds because it's investing in these things. The amount of money that you have in the account can go up or it can go down based on how well the investments perform. Later on, this account can give you a series of payments, just like I mentioned before, a paycheck. But both types of annuities, you have to understand them because sometimes annuities come with high fees or high surrender charges. And I want to talk to you about diversification because in diversification, you now have the ability to invest where you are actually taking a lot of different funding mechanisms and you're putting them all together. So you're not putting all your money into one type of investment. So it just spreads across different investments, stocks, bonds, real estate, cash. This way, if one doesn't do well, the others might be okay. So this will help to balance things out and reduce your overall risk. I want to talk about mutual funds, and the reason I want to talk about mutual funds because it's a tried and true way for you to step into the investment world. It's a great way to continue investing in retirement. So imagine you got this big pot of money where hundreds of thousands of people putting their money in. That's called a mutual fund. But instead of one person trying to buy many different stocks or bonds, everybody's money is combined to buy a mix of them. So if one stock doesn't do well, the others might do very, very well. And that's the beauty of mutual funds. It's diversification. It's a key component of mutual fund, and that's what makes them so popular. They've been around for a long time. It gives you the opportunity to take, like if you're at a buffet, you can take a bite out of all the things that at the buffet, but you might go back and get the stuff that you really, really like. Mutual funds have expert management. These are skilled people, they're money managers. And what these money managers do, they decide which stocks or bond that should be invested in this great pool of money. They're easy to access. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of knowledge. You can participate in mutual funds with a very, very little amount of money. And they're liquid. And by liquid, I mean that you can take your money out generally at any time. They are not new, like I said before. They've been around since the 1920s. Mutual funds make investing easier and potentially safer because of the mix of investments and the professional management. So my community, we believe that a financial education should be free. And we believe this, and I believe this really with everything in me. And I want to share this, and I plan to share this with everybody who's interested for as long as I can. So the one question that this slide does not address is how to make your money last during retirement. And I mentioned earlier that I would address this. The power of compound interest and the rule of 72 can make it possible for you to have a comfortable lifestyle all through your retirement. So what I want you to imagine is that you have this big coconut grove. You got 1,000,000 trees in that grove. And every year, these trees are going to give you a huge amount of coconuts. If you only use the coconuts and you never cut down the trees, you're going to always have 1,000,000 coconut trees. And you'll keep getting coconuts every year. For someone who's retiring, this means that they can live off the coconut interest, which is the interest money that you get every year, while your coconut grove of 1,000,000 trees or your original savings remains untouched. This way, you always have trees producing coconuts, and a steady supply of coconuts will give you a steady interest, and this is what you can live off of. It's a great strategy, but it does require careful planning. It does require consideration, and it does require that you make sure that you are including things like inflation, investment risk, and your personal financial needs. You always need to consult with a financial advisor, a kind of a financial advisor, somebody that you're comfortable with, somebody that you can understand. You must understand. You must be able to ask the question. You must be able to understand it so that you can actually repeat it to somebody else. So you get with a financial advisor. This is the gentleman that I mentioned to you who's responsible for me being where I am right now. And this is the company who we represent. It's Primerica. This is my community. The gentleman who's responsible for giving me the financial education, that's now my business partner. And I'm committed to giving as many people who are interested the same knowledge that he provided me and the knowledge that he continues to provide me. I was down and out. We are Primerica representatives. Primerica is the largest independent financial marketing organization in North America. Forbes named our company one of America's best insurance companies for 2018, 2022. The company is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, been in business since 1977 with more than 4 million insured clients. Currently, there are no insurance investment products in the Virgin Islands. However, we have 2 million client investment accounts. That's your savings and your investments. We currently have investments in the Virgin Islands. I'm Maxine Fredericks. My daughter Melissa and I are business partners. We offer complimentary, no obligation financial education to anybody that's interested. If you want more information, text us at 770-733-9654 or 770-688-7812. So if you have questions, we want to entertain those questions right now. We want to look in the chat and see what you had to say. So you can unmute yourself right now and ask any questions that you might have. We have about 9 minutes left. So are there any questions in the chat, Ms. Phillips?
I don't see. Can we receive this recording via email? Just send an email to info@vispdc.org and we'll be sure to forward you a copy of the presentation. So that was our first question. The other comments in the chat were answers to the first set of questions you asked at the very beginning.
Okay. All right. So where I asked the question about people wanting to know how they can get this free money without doing anything legal, were there any answers to that question? Because if so, we would love to be able to sit with you, have a conversation, just like I'm having today, go into a lot more details about the things that you can do and how we can help to provide you with information that you need so that you can plan accordingly, so that you can live a financially free life. And like I said before, anybody can do this. If it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. Life happens. We don't have any control over this. And my passion, one of the business things that I wanted to do after going into, and I don't call it retirement, I just left a particular career. So one of the things I've always wanted to do is to be able to help others and share with others the things that I've learned. And because it's free, I've been given so many opportunities to have free education. I learned so much from the Virgin Islands Small Development Business Center, from learning how to do a business plan, from just being around positive people who were there to help me and to guide me on my journey. So I want to thank all of you for your participation today. And don't forget, you can contact us, just text us. We'll get back to you promptly. 770-733-9654 or 770-688-7812. Thanks again.
So Ms. Fredericks, we did have someone asking for you to repeat the 72 rule.
Oh, great. Okay. So the rule of 72. The magic number is 72. And I don't know where that came from. I've researched it. Other people don't know where it came from. Some people say Albert Einstein, but that's kind of debatable as well. So what you would do is take the number 72 and you divide it by your interest rate. Say, for instance, you have a savings account. That savings account is giving you, say, 12% interest. And I say 12% because 12% is really a good number and it's possible. So you would divide 72 by the number 12. And if you have your calculator, if you could do that right now, you got your calculator out, divide 72 by the number 12, and tell me what number do you get? For the person that asked the question, I'm going into my calculator right now. Take the number 72, the division sign, the number 12, And so the answer I got was 6.25. So that means that if you had $10,000 year one, you didn't touch that money, you let it sit there. In 6.25 years, that $10,000 is now $20,000. And that's how the rule of 72 actually works. Was that clear? And whoever asked the question, if you feel comfortable, you can join the chat.
Yes, they responded in the chat 6 and it said that, yes, thank you, it was clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Because for me, it took me a while because I just didn't believe it was that simple. I was trying to do all kinds of different things. I was taking my money and trying to divide it into 72. I was doing things that were not, didn't make any sense. But it's very, very simple. So 72, you divide that by the number, the interest rate, whatever your interest rate is, and it will tell you how long, approximately how long it will take for your money to double. If you that means if you have not touched that money at all. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so with no further questions, I'd like to say that the SBDC has so much more in store for USVI small business owners. Visit our website at www.vispdc.org. Download the VISBDC app on your mobile device from the appropriate app store. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google Business, and subscribe to the VISBDC YouTube channel for new uploads of our on-demand webinars. So as you look at the screen, you can see the QR code to access our free downloadable apps. And with regards to upcoming training, tomorrow we have the Business Development Series. We all keep score, the fundamentals of personal credit, and that webinar is going to start at 11 a.m. Coming up on September 21st, we have VI Apex. They're going to be presenting on the importance of the HubZone certification. And on September 27th, in person, we have Effective Marketing in 2023. At that live event, there will be a marketing company offering complimentary media consultations for your business. So we encourage you to sign up and attend in person. So go to our website and go ahead and register for that event. So with no more questions, Ms. Fredericks, we thank you for your time, and for everyone here on behalf of the entire VISBDC network, please enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you.